I always try to write from like a personal experience or place because I think that that is most relatable to my peers or to the people that listen to my music. And so when I was sort of coming up with a theme for the album, I was like, what was really, I guess what I'm really been going through is transitioning into like adulthood and just remembering like the struggles that came with that and sort of trying to figure out like who I am, like who I'm made to be, and like making sure that I become that. And I remember being faced with a lot of pressure to do whatever everyone else says I should do. Ultimately, we have to listen to what is it that God is saying, and then have like the boldness to follow that. And so that's what I like based the album around. I think that you'll definitely get that theme throughout the record. I grew up listening to gospel music, and I grew up singing in church on Sunday mornings, and I've always, been sort of a worshiper, but at the same time, I've loved to listen to hip-hop music or pop music, top 40, So I've always just wanted to make music that people can dance to, and that was always the sort of thing I was looking for. I think it's who I am, let's showcase that, all of that. I love collaborating with people that I know. I think it's super important, and I probably picked that up from Flame. He's a super amazing hip-hop artist I was able to sort of be mentored by, signed to his label, and he always taught me to collaborate with people that because there's sort of a connection there. You can get a really good song to come out of that, knowing that person. So I was able to collaborate with Trip Lee, who's a good friend of mine, and I was able, I've worked with him in the past on his records, and so this time I was like, hey, I'm doing this song, I really, really want, to hear you on it, and he was just like, yeah, I love the song, let's do it. Flame, of course, I was able to collaborate with, which I'm super excited about, because even though I've known him and we've been friends for so long, I'm still such a huge fan, and I know that he understands exactly what I'm looking for. When I send him a feature, I know, I just hear him on every song. I'm always telling my producer, oh, I can hear Flame on this. Oh, I can hear him on this. Derek Minor was a new, sort of venture for me, but I've been friends with him, toured with him a little bit, and he killed it. I think, I was super surprised because he was, sort of singing a little bit. All these rappers are, singing now, and I just think it's super cool. And then I was able to collaborate with Angie Rose. She's a sort of up-and-coming female rapper in Christian hip-hop, and it was really cool to collaborate with her as well. So, the album is so fresh that I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think one that sticks out to me right now is there's a song I wrote called We're Girls, and I think it's just super, real and candid that I'm able to talk about all of the things that we experience as girls, that guys never experience, being super emotional, having these sort of up and down days, or days where, you feel really confident, or days where you don't, and just all of the things that we experience. And I wanted to write a song that talked about that, and how that if we would just accept that that's exactly how God made us, then we could stop trying to understand or figure that out, and then we could let God use us in that way with all of those things, for his good, and stop trying to fight against them. And so the lyrics just say, we love, we fight, we laugh when we cry, we don't know what we want, but we want it tonight, we're girls. And I just think it's super cool. I think girls will be able to really relate with that. I think always I want, especially with this album, I want people to take away, I want people to understand that they need to ask themselves who am I, and what was I created for. I was listening to John Piper this morning, this sermon, and he said something that really struck me, and he said true freedom is when you do what you love to do, and when that also matches with what you were created to do. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted out of this album, is that you can have, joy and peace and all of the things that God wants us to have, and be doing what you love to do, but he knows what that is, and so the only way to achieve that is to come to him. And so I just, want people to walk away with that question. Like, if you've never asked yourself that before, you've never really thought about it, or you're not sure, like, there is an answer out there, you don't have it, God has it. So